So I hope you were able to create your own classes and objects and add all of the properties and do all sort of things. Very good. So what I'm going to do next is continue working on our microphone here, because we created our instance variables, our properties or fields, and that is not enough for obvious reasons. So the idea here is that this microphone, this blueprint, has to be as complete as possible so that the construction or the instantiation, or rather the creation of the object, is also complete. Because at this point, we just have a very incomplete blueprint here. So imagine if you want to build a house, and the architect just gives you a half-done blueprint. Obviously, you could, of course, take that to the constructor, but the constructor probably is not going to be very happy because he or she may say that, well, it's not complete, which means we can't move forward and create the actual house for you, or at least a complete house, and nobody wants an incomplete home. Right? Very good. So what we're going to do here is add what we call methods or actions here, right? Methods, something like that. What these do is they complete our blueprint. For instance, if we think of a microphone, we can think of things that the microphone can do, right? So for instance, microphone can be turned on or turned off, set volume down and up, and all other things. So let's keep it simple here. So we're going to create methods that are part of our microphone, of our blueprint, to make this a more complete class. So I'm going to say public void, right? Because it's not returning anything. I'm going to say turn off, like this. Okay. And then I'm going to say public void turn on. All right. And empty bodies. And I'm going to say public void set volume, something like that. Okay. Very good. Let's start with set volume. At this point, what we're going to do, we're going to say s out, just going to system things out. And I am going to say setting volume, like that. Now, here's the cool thing. Because I am inside of my blueprint here, this class, right, I can actually invoke these properties because they're just variables, right? And these variables are going to turn into something once we actually create or construct our object or instantiate it, as we did here, right? So what I can do here is I can also pass the name, for instance, right? Now, how do I do that? Well, I could come up here and say name as that, plus like that. Okay, that's totally fine. But the best way to do that is in the realm of object-oriented programming is that we use this keyword, dot name as such. What this means is that we are getting the objects, or in this case, the class's name or instance variable or property or field value. Okay, so you could go ahead and just say name, but always make sure to say this.name to signify this. We're talking about this object. Okay, that is the meaning of this keyword, dot access name. So we're going to say microphone this dot name, which is going to be this name here. Okay, so we can do that. Let's go up here to turn off. I can S out again. I'm going to say this dot name again. I'm going to say plus turn off. All right, just completing here, S out. This dot name again, turn on. Okay, very good. So now we have that. We're going to save. Okay, we can come down here to our my class where we have instantiated our objects. We can call them, right? So I can come down here because I've created the actual objects. They have two mics, right, of type microphone. They are totally different because we've added different models, different name, and different color. Okay, these are two distinct objects. We can come down here and actually call the methods that we created inside of our microphone, like turn off, turn on. So now we're directing our objects to do things. So I can say here microphone dot, look at that. Now I have access to the methods. And you can see that it is indeed a void because it says so here. And also there's this M here for method. And you can see here, it's very small. It's a lock that is unlocked. This means, and it's going to make more sense later, this just means that this is a public, meaning anybody can access it. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, very good. Set volume. But before we set volume, let's go ahead and turn it on, right? Turn it on, and then say microphone dot set volume. I'm going to say microphone, what is it? It's set and turn off after I've set the volume. Okay, save this. If we run, look at that. Okay, Blue Yeti turn on, Blue Yeti setting volume, Blue Yeti turn off. Right? It's not yet, it's Yeti. There we go. So we have some issue here. There's no spacing. It's fine. We can go back to our microphone class. I think we didn't put a space there. Good. So nothing too out of this world here. It's just that I just want to make sure everything looks good. Okay, there we go. So now we have actually called certain actions, methods in our class. Right? Very good. So turn off, turn on, set volume. Of course, we can do the same with the other microphone as you see here. Okay, because that's totally different, obviously, object. Now, notice the difference here. It says Blue Yeti. The reason why, again, going back to our microphone, is that we say this, that name. So every time we turn on, it's going to call the name that we set the object to have. In this case, if we were to use, actually, come down here and say the same thing for the other microphone, GH mic. I'm going to say turn on, GH mic again, set volume, GH mic, dot turn off. You'll see the difference. I'm going to save this. Look at this. Didn't have to do much. All I had to do was to call the methods on each object, and it knows exactly which object we're talking about. So the first one is the Blue Yeti, as you saw, but then because we are calling on a different object, which is the GH mic, it also knows to call GH, ZB, turn on, and so forth. All of this is just to prove to you the power of having classes and objects and methods within those classes, right? Because now it knows, according to what microphone object we've instantiated, it knows how to call the appropriate name and do all the things that it needs to do. Okay? And obviously we can do all sort of things. But one other thing that I think it's important to mention here is that going back to our blueprint, our class here, if we wanted to create, let's call it a helper method or a method that shows in string format all the description of our name, color, and model, and we'll see later how to do that internally with Java, of course, right? Java classes and methods that it comes with. We can actually create another method here that I will call, let's say, public void show description. All this will do, really, it's just going to help us to create a very nice string that will have the name, color, and model, and so forth, okay? In fact, what I can do, instead of saying void, because I know it's going to return a string, this is a good exercise, I can say string like that, which means I have to return a string. So I'm going to say return microphone name, and then I'm going to append the this.name, right? And then I'm going to say plus with color, this.color. Gonna do another line plus, let's see, we got name, got color, model, and its model like this dot model like that. Okay, so whenever we call show description, what do you think is going to happen? Well, this will return this very nice string here that says microphone name. So if the object that we instantiated is a Blue Yeti, it's going to say microphone name Blue Yeti with color, whatever color we set it to be, and its model and the model number. All right, so this is a more of a helper method that allows us to just put everything together so we can show it to the user in a nice way. Okay, so save this. Let's come down here. I'm going to just use the microphone for now. Look at that. Now I can call the description with the dot access operator there, like this. What do you think it's going to show? Well, this microphone is this microphone object here we created at the top, which is blue color, Blue Yeti, in this model. Let's run this. Right. Well, the thing here is that because microphone that show description, we are not returning an actual S out or print out, right? So we're just returning a string. So in order for us to see it, probably saw this, we have to put all of that inside of S out as such, like this, in order for us to actually see the string, right? It makes sense. Let me put the semicolon there. All right, there we go. You probably saw this. And voila, microphone name, Blue Yeti with color blue and its model, that model there. Not a very well-constructed sentence there, but you get the point. Very good. So this was just to show you that when you create your classes, your blueprints, you can put whatever you want really in terms of methods and so forth. So this is what I call kind of sort of like a helper method that returns a very nice string with our instance variable information about this class or this object once we have instantiated it, as we did here. So if you do the same thing here for our GH mic, which I would like you to do, you will see the same results. But the difference here is going to be the Blue Yeti name is going to be GH mic, of course, and the color is going to be the color we added for GH mic, and of course the model also will be that because we set everything up inside of our class, our blueprint here in microphone. So it automatically gets the name referencing that object that we've created.